And welcome back. Hopefully you have watched our first video on how to read chemical equations. Now we're going to the second part, how to balance them. This will teach you where to put the coefficients and how you know what coefficients to put before each molecule. So we'll start with a basic formula. Here we have hydrogen molecules plus oxygen molecules react and form water molecules. Now, this seems pretty basic, seems like it makes sense, but you'll notice there are no coefficients in front of it. Most equations will have coefficients, some will not, but almost every single one you will run into will have at least one coefficient in front of a molecule. So we're going to learn how you can tell what coefficients go where. So we've already done the first step, and that is write our equation down. We wrote all of our molecules and all of our atoms, so we know what atoms and molecules, what chemicals we are working with. Our second step is we need to write down how many in the basic equation, how many atoms of each element. So first off, you have to identify what elements are you working with. So here, if you'll remember, are our reactants. And on the other side, you have your products. In this case, there's only one. But there are two reactants, so we need to identify what elements exist. So first off, we have hydrogen. So we will write down here at the bottom, hydrogen. And we also have oxygen. When we go to the products, you should have the exact same elements from the reactants to the products. We did an experiment a couple weeks ago where we blew up gas into a balloon and then measured the mass of it, and it came out really close, which shows whatever's on this side should also exist on this side in equal numbers. So we should have the same two elements, which we do. We have hydrogen, and we also have oxygen. Now, the whole goal of this entire balancing is to get the two hydrogen numbers the same and the two oxygen numbers the same. So let's fill out our hydrogen and oxygen numbers first. You remember that these numbers tell you how many atoms of each element you have. Since there's nothing here for the oxygen, we will put an imaginary 1. So that you can remember there's one oxygen here. So there's one oxygen and two hydrogen because of this number. Two oxygen and two hydrogen. So this is what it looks like right now. As you can see, both of our numbers are not the same. That's a problem. First off, find whatever number has only one of it. This will be your easiest starting point. We only have one oxygen over here, and we have two over here. The easiest thing that we can do is make this match that. How do we do that? Through multiplication. One thing that I left out of the previous video, because it's most important here, is to tell how many total atoms exist in the entire equation. You multiply to find total atoms. You take your coefficient times your subscript. I'll write that bigger so you can see. Your coefficient times your subscript. What is a subscript? Subscript is a special name for this. It is smaller than the rest of it, so it is sub. It is below. So the number of atoms that exist in a molecule is your subscript. So you take whatever coefficient you have and multiply it by your subscript. Right now, there's an imaginary 1 in front of this. What happens if we change that? What happens if we put a 2 here? Well, now you multiply your coefficient times your subscript, which was 1 for oxygen. 2 times 1 changes the total number of oxygen to 2, and we're balanced. Except we're not really, because you do it for every single thing that exists in your molecule. So while you've multiplied the oxygen, you've also multiplied the hydrogen. 2 times 2 gives us 4 hydrogen. And now our hydrogen numbers are off. So we need to find a common denominator or a common multiple, not a denominator, common multiple between the 2 and the 4 for our hydrogens. Luckily, there's a real easy one. It's 4. 2 times something equals 4. Hopefully, you know 2 times 2 equals 4. So if we come over here, we put a 2 there. We multiply everything in this molecule, which there's only one element in this molecule. 2 times 2 gives us 4. Now you'll notice all of our numbers, our hydrogen numbers are the same and our oxygen numbers are the same. That means we're done with this equation. And you can do this with any chemical equation that exists. After this video, I will post another one in which we go over several different chemical equations and how to balance them. It will probably be a little bit longer, but it will be useful, in which I will go over at least 3 different chemical equations and show you how to balance them, and you can use it for a good amount of practice.